need a target.
Our enemies will fall.
I'm gonna run a mile and then go to the gym. I'm gonna head out for the night, but that was a good night, man. We had a lot of fun. I'm super happy that the multi-boxing thing.
You know, it doesn't matter if you choose left or right.
Then you know that the world can use all the defense it can get. Deep within, there are the imprisoned old gods, Kafun, Yaxaron, and Nazal. Whereas Alexstrasza was given dominion over life. Her good friend and closest confidant, Nelfarion, he was given dominion over the earth and the deep places of the world. That connection made him especially vulnerable to the whispers of the old gods. Slowly but surely they corrupted him, turned him from a defender into a weapon that they could use. Then the Night Elves were foolish enough to draw the attention of the Burning Legion. Messing with the magical powers provided by their Well of Eternity, they got in touch with the Dark Titan Sargeras. He really wanted to come over and destroy the world, but the gateway that they had, it wasn't strong enough yet to get him through. At least some of his powerful demonic forces. They could come in, start cleansing the world, work on bringing in their master. Now not all the Night Elves were down with what their queen was doing, and so a resistance was formed. The War of the Ancients played out. Such a massive war that even divine beings, like the wild gods and the dragons, they were also dragged in. The threat of the Legion had the aspects wonder if they were strong enough to even take them on. And that's when Nelfarion pushed his plans into action.
It is done. All have given that which must
Tremble,
be given.
mortals, before the
I now
coming of
seal
the
the
end.
dragon's soul forever.
That terrible glow. Should that be?
For it to be as it must, yes. It is a weapon like no other. It must be like no other.
Behold the Dragon Soul, a device born out of the old god's will, out of Nelfarion's mad schemes. It's infused with the powers of his dark masters and houses the essences of demons. Then he managed to convince the other aspects to give up a portion of their power, infuse it within the soul, while Nelfarion himself made no such sacrifice. Unaware of what was going on with their brother, the Dragon Queen and the other aspects flew into battle. The power of the soul was truly incredible. It swept down across the demon horde, utterly vaporized the Burning Legion where it touched. The demons were forced to retreat, but then the truth was revealed. Nelfarion unleashed its might against the Night Elves as well. All should bow down to him, especially those closest to him, his so-called friends, his fellow aspects. The huge black dragon had heard the whispers for so long that they were now a part of him, indistinguishable from his own twisted thoughts. They made him believe that none of them could be trusted. What have you wrought, Neltharion? Alexstrasza asked. What evil have you perpetrated? You call us traitors, but I see only one for whom the title is deserved. I give you permission to speak, dear Alexstrasza, or you should use it to plead for mercy for your crimes. You dare condemn me? She snorted at such words. There is no one here among us who has committed more horrendous crimes than you. Alexstrasza hesitated. Then her tone abruptly softened. Neltharion, this is not you. You always sought to make the world one of peace, of harmony. And I will. When all obey my dictates, there will be no more chaos, no more war, and no more death. How many must die to create your peace, my old friends? The voices grew insistent, demanding that he put an end to the words and separate. The black dragon shook his head, trying to clear his throat. What madness has overwhelmed you, Neltharion? You are strong. Recall what you once were and destroy that abomination before it's too late for all of us. The herb order's crimson orbs hardened again, and he clutched the disc protectively. No. So your betrayal worsens. You will take what is mine, what I have created for yourself. I knew it. I knew that none of you could be trusted. But the use of the Dragon Soul did not come without affecting Neltharion, or Deathwing as most of you know him as. His body started to tear apart, yet blood did not flow from the wounds, but rather pure fire coming out. That didn't stop him from getting off one more major attack. Malagos and the Blue Dragonflight, they had championed the creation of the disc, and so they felt that it was their duty to destroy it. They did their absolute best. But instead, it was their flight that was nearly wiped out. It would have gone extinct if not for the actions of Alexstrasza and her dragons. They would gather the remaining blue dragon eggs and do what they could to hatch and raise new whelps. But this attack from his close friend would send Malagos into a deep madness. Deathwing the Destroyer could no longer ignore his wounds and was forced to retreat. Figure out a way to keep his body together, with armor plates as it turns out, while the War of the Ancients continued to play out. A war in which Alexstrasza and Ysera kept on fighting. The Dragon Soul would eventually be stolen from the man Esrange and used by enemy stormers. In his mind, he could use its power to shut out the portal they had created to bring Sargeras in. But there were still the old gods, who actually wanted Sargeras to enter the world, so that they could use that to escape from their prison. Under their guidance, the portal was not reversed. Instead, it was amplified. Sargeras was that much closer to setting foot on land. What the old gods didn't count on was their corrupted dragon pawn being so devoted to the disc that even their whispers could not stop him from trying to grab it back.
Come, sister. It is time to end this. We will cleanse the dragon. Old gods guard against this.
It is too powerful.
How dare you touch my creation? It is mine! Mine!
Neltharion! What have you done? You have doomed us all to the madness of the old gods!
Mine!
He is lost to us, sister. He is
The power of the soul is tearing him apart!
I will not be denied!
That tentacle slap meant Deathwing was going to slumber for a while and recover his strength. Ultimately, by all of them working together, the portal was reversed. Sargeras was prevented from setting foot on the world, and the demons were sent back to where they came from. A victory, but not one without great loss. The damage inflicted upon the world, upon the Dragonflights, it would echo on for the rest of their days. Still, in this very moment, there was cause for celebration. Our Illidan knew that the Burning Legion wouldn't just give up on trying to claim Azeroth, and he thought it was best to have a new Well of Eternity. Something the rest of his kind didn't exactly agree with. Not after just fighting this massive war because of the original well. The Demon Hunter was imprisoned, but that still left this magical fount of power. this magical temptation. To contain it,
I need to get
Alexstrasza used an enchanted seed to sprout a mighty tree over the well. The tree's boughs soon towered over the lake,
I need to get
scraping
this.
the belly of the heavens. Its roots grew deep into the earth, spreading life-giving energies across the war-torn
I'm out
world.
of range.
Thereafter, the great tree would act as a seal over the new well of eternity, preventing the Legion or anyone else from abusing its powers. Nordrasil, crown of the heavens. The Night Elves vowed to keep it safe and protect the Well of Eternity at any cost. To honor this decision, the Dragon Aspects agreed to bless the Night Elves so that they could perform their guardianship successfully. Alexstrasza infused Nordrasil with renewed strength and vitality, which would also extend to the Night Elves. Ysera bound all Night Elf druids to her domain, the Emerald Dream, which allowed them to journey into the dream whenever they wish. And then Nosdormu assured that as long as the colossal tree stood, the Night Elves would possess immortality. With that, the dragons returned home, forever changed. While Deathwing recovered, they hunted his corrupted flight to near extinction. They didn't stop him from being a friend, though, quite the opposite. Soon enough, Alexstrasza and the other aspects, they became his target once more.
From pain, we draw strength.
Fast forward a few millennia, to the time where the Dark Portal opened up for the very first time, and the Horde spread across the world like locusts, aiming to conquer it for the Horde. It was the opening of the Dark Portal that finally woke Deathwing from his long slumber, and the war that followed with the Orcs invading the world, it fascinated him. If the Horde could break Azeroth's kingdoms, it would allow him to devote his full attention to fending off his fellow aspects, and eventually bring about the plans of the old gods. Secretly, he decided to aid them here and there, but one of his biggest schemes had to do with the Dragon Soul. This artifact had been hidden away by Malfurion Stormrage at the request of the dragons, which was after the War of the Ancients. The Night Elf Druid was the man for the job, as the aspects had placed a new spell upon it. Before, they could not wield the soul because of Deathwing's handiwork. Now, the spell has made it impossible for Deathwing or any other dragon to even touch the demon soul, much less use it. Hidden away in a place where they thought would be safe from the man aspect, but hiding away something in the earth. For the aspect of earth, it proved to be impossible. Now, again, no dragon could wield the artifact, but the orcs most definitely could. Deathwing sent visions to Zuluhet, chieftain of the Dragamar clan, vivid dreams of his clan taming and riding strange, powerful winged creatures. They'd already tamed the Lyrex back on the home world of Draenor. To once again soar in the sky, it was an idea that could not be resisted. Under Deathwing's subtle guidance, they traveled to the Red Ridge Mountains, where the Dragon Soul were hidden away. The guardian dragon Orastras was slain by the orcs, and the wards surround the artifact were dispelled by the greatest warlock, Necros Skullcrusher. He sensed the faint fell energies on the soul, and he renamed it the Demon Soul. Far from the Red Ridge Mountains, Alexstrasza could sense the breaking of the wards, and when no response came from the guardian, she decided to fly out and discover what was going on, believing that some foolish mortal had somehow stolen the artifact, and that Orastrius was in the midst of trying to hunt it. They thought it would be an easy task to help him retrieve it, while in truth, they were flying right into Deathwing's trap. Alexstrasza and her followers descended on Necros, expecting little resistance. Such a primitive creature could never unlock the Demon Soul secrets. But oh boy, were the dragons wrong. Necros had learned much through dreams and visions. The Black Dragon aspect had taught the Orc of the Demon Soul's true power and instructed him on how to wield it. Necros called on the Demon Soul's fury, and the artifact seared the Lifebinder with excruciating pain, bending its power to enslave her, while the rest of the Dragamar orcs bound her up in chains. The other dragons could do little to help their queen. Every time one of them swooped down towards the orcs, Necros lashed Alexstrasza with the Demon Soul's extraordinary power. His message was clear. You come to try take us on, and your beloved queen suffers. They then took her and 3 of her consorts to Grim Battle and started working on riding these dragons into battle, forcing Alexstrasza to breed with her consorts. At first, the Dragon Queen had refused to cooperate, a problem that Necros solved by seizing one of her unhatched eggs, holding it before the captive's queen's face and smashing it with his fist, splattering himself and her with the yoke. Her shrieks had all but deafened them. and her thrashing had knocked several orcs to the ground, breaking the limbs on 2 of them. But their chains had held, and after that she had cooperated, albeit reluctantly. Anything to avoid seeing more of her children destroyed unborn. I will kill you someday, she had warned Necros, and the orc simply laughed. Perhaps, but until then you and yours will serve the hordes. As long as Necros had the demon soul, he was untouchable. From afar, Deathwing rejoiced in Alexstrasza's enslavement. He continued, subtly advising Necros on how best to use the demon soul to control the red dragons. Given the horde such powerful weapons, it served his plans to restore his black dragon flight. But there was an added benefit. He knew that this would break the Lifebinder's heart. Torment to be relished, to see your kin used as tools of war. In service to the horde, they burned the forest surrounding Quel'Thalas. They burned some of the Alliance fleet, taking the life of Derek Proudmoore. The enslaved dragons took no joy in the destruction, far from it. Many of them wept in sorrow as they slaughtered in the name of the horde and burned the life of the wild. Despite the draconic violence, the horde, much betrayal from within, it would still be defeated by the Alliance. Pushed back all the way through the Dark Portal, which the Alliance of Lordaeron shut down. The orcs that had surrendered, they were placed within internment camps, while small pockets of the horde, they were still scattered on the planet. Amongst them was the Dragomar clan, barricaded within their stronghold of Grim Batol. They continued forcing Alexstrasza to breed and train the red dragons. If the Alliance ever discovered their presence, at the very least, the Dragomar would have weapons to fight with. For Deathwing, this defeat at the hands of the Alliance of Lordaeron, it meant a change of plans. While the mad aspect had slumbered, his black dragonflight was hunted to near extinction. But those eggs the orcs were having Alexstrasza produce could be claimed and enslaved to his will. Once more, he sent dark dreams to Necros Skullcrusher, who up to this point, he's been holding out a grim battle, not wanting to draw too much attention. Those dreams foretold that the Alliance was preparing to strike. Dreams that were meant to lure Necros and the orcs out of their fortified fortress. And there was also Cressus, aka Corielstras, consort to Alexstrasza, who loved her deeply. When he found out that she was being held captive by the Dragomar, he also discovered that there wasn't a whole lot he could do. But the demon soul, it could wipe him out in an instant. In the other aspects for him, it also didn't do much. Melagos was still quite insane. Nosdormu occupied himself with gathering relics and fire. In the Serra, she would love to help her sister. She didn't see him come up with any plans that would lead to their enslavement or deaths as well. But there was another that Corielstras could turn to, Ronin of the Kirin Tor. He recruited the wizard and offered him all the aid he could muster to free the Red Dragonflight. Ronin was on board with the plan. Together with Varisa Windrunner and Falstad Wildhammer, they made their way to Grim Batol on a near-suicide mission. Eventually, the orcs did move out of the mountain. The moment that they stepped foot outside of the safe fortress, Deathwing attacked and slaughtered countless of them. He didn't care about the orcs. All he wanted were the eggs. The war playing out at Grim Batol, it was just the opportunity that Ronin and his allies needed. Not to mention that the other dragon aspects, they had decided to help out as well. They battled their brother in the sky, 3 against 1. Yet still, they were no match for Deathwing, as they were fighting at half power, since part of their essence, it was still locked away within that demon soul. On the ground, Necros and Ronin battled. In the struggle, the orc lost the soul, the artifact that had given dominion over the Dragon Queen. After years of enslavement, Alexstrasza was finally free. Necros, interrupted a thundering, hate-filled voice. You had them slay my children. My children! Ronin felt the orc's sudden shift, as if turning. Necros let out a gasp, and then... No, a shadow overwhelmed both Ronin and his adversary. A hot, almost searing wind washed over the mage. He heard Necros Skullcrusher scream, and suddenly the orc's weight vanished from his back, scales hanging loose in some areas. Her wings bent awkwardly. The Dragon Queen Alexstrasza still presented a most astounding sight. She towered over all else, her head high in the sky as she roared in defiance. Of Necros, Ronin saw no sign. The great dragon had either swallowed the orc whole or tossed his body far away, making good on the promise she had made him. She too joined the battle in the sky, but again, they didn't stand much of a chance against Deathwing. Not but a demon soul was still a thing. I have faced the ravages of time. of time, the curse of nightmares, and the mist of sorcery, thanks to the others. What weapons do you bring? Asked Deathwing. Alexstrasza met his sinister gaze with her own determined, unblinking orbs. Life, hope, and what they bring with them. Deathwing took in her words and laughed loud. Then you are as good as dead already. The two giants charged one another, while down below Ronin, he found the demon soul on the ground. He even managed to slice it open, returning what was once stolen. After millennia, all the aspects were operating at full power. An attack that Devon had expected to do little harm. It actually hurt quite a lot. What was going on here? At first, Alexstrasza looked surprised herself, but then a knowing and triumphant smile crossed her draconic features. The bare beginnings, what I have these past years dreamed of doing, foul one. She looked larger, stronger. In fact, all four of them looked that way. A sensation coursed through the Black Dragon. The feeling that something had gone terrible wrong with his perfect plan. What was lost has been returned to us. The demon soul. The demon soul is no more. Impossible. The metallic behemoth roared. Lies! Lies! No, corrected the crimson figure. The only lie left to disprove now is that you are invincible. And Deathwing found himself under attack by four elemental forces, the likes of which he had never faced. No longer did he fight mere shadows of his rivals, but a quartet, each his equal, and he no match for all of them together. Alexstrasza rose before him. The terrible nemesis. She gazed at Deathwing, still in part with pity, and said, "Life is my aspect, Dark One, and I, like all mothers, know both the pain and wonder that entails. For the past several years, I have watched my children be raised as instruments of war, slaughtered if they proved insufficient or too willful. I have lived, knowing that so many died that I could do nothing for. Your words mean nothing to me." Deathwing roared as he futilely struggled to shrug off the other horrific assaults. "Nothing!" No, they likely do not. Which is why I shall let you experience firsthand all that I have suffered. And she did just that. Against any other attack, even the nightmares of Ysera, Deathwing could summon a defense. But against Alexstrasza's, he had no weapon upon which to draw. She attacked with pain, but her pain. She dealt not with agony as he knew it, but with that of a loving mother who suffered with each child torn from her, with each child turned into something terrible, with each child who perished. You will go through all I have gone through, Dark One. Let us see if you fare any better than I did. But Deathwing had no experience in such suffering. It tore him where the pain of vicious talons or ripping teeth could not, for it tore him in his very being. The most terrible of dragons screamed as none had ever heard a dragon scream before. That perhaps was all that saved him. So startled were the others by it that they faltered in their own spells. Able at last to rip free, Deathwing turned and fled, flying fast and furious. His entire body shook, and he continued to scream even as he swiftly dwindled from sight. They would try to hunt the Dark One, while also gather what remained of their flight, mourn the consorts she had lost, recover their eggs, and rebuild their home. Ronin, Vrisa, and Falstad, they would forevermore be friends of the Red Dragons, and Coriostras finally had his beloved back. Many years later, Alexstrasza would be questioned about these events during the trial at Garrosh Hellscream. Bane asked her how she felt about them now. "I have no quarrel with any race in Azeroth," she replied. "I am the Lifebinder. I love all life." "Even the orcs?" Bane asked. "Who did such terrible things to you? How could you possibly love them? Do you not cry out for their destruction?" "Few beings are truly evil," said Alexstrasza. "And even they are not necessarily beyond redemption. Change is inherent in life. As long as something lives, it can grow. It can seek the light or the darkness. It is only when it chooses the darkness so completely that life itself is endangered that I would say there is no hope." That's the heart of the Lifebinder, choosing death only when absolutely necessary. And such hard choices would soon be upon her. The Day of the Dragon had passed, but that did not mean at all that they would not continue to leave their mark on the worlds. But that part of the story we're going to save for next week. So for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya! Hello everyone! Last time we spoke about Alexstrasza becoming the Dragon Queen, the creation of the Dragon Soul during the War of the Ancients, and then her enslavement to the Orcs. Her consort Corielstras was able to liberate her. The aspects have regained their power, but in the case of Malygos, they did not immediately mean the return of his sanity. That would come a few years later, and with clarity of mind, he saw that the world of Azeroth, it was abusing magic. It was this abuse that had caused them so much suffering back in the War of the Ancients. And it was this abuse that continued to cause problems for the world. They couldn't be trusted with it. So Malygos the Blue decided to draw in all the ley lines into his base of the Nexus. Ronin and the Kirin Tor found out about this, took their magical floating city of Dalaran to Northrend to deal with the problem. As this conflict intensified, Alexstrasza and ambassadors from the other Dragonflights, they met to discuss Malygos' fate. Even some of the Blues did not agree what their aspect was doing. He already killed too many innocents, and his siphoning of Azeroth's ley lines, it had upset the balance of the worlds. With heavy hearts, they decided to join the Nexus War, an agreement that became known as the Wyrmrest Accords. For the good of the world, the dragons would aid mortals in their battle. A decision that was not easily made, especially not for Alexstrasza. Malygos was like a brother to her, and as a guardian of life, she hated the bloodshed that was to come. Yet, if she did nothing, she knew the number of lives lost would be unimaginable.
Unthinkable! The mortals will destroy everything! My sister, what have you...
I did what I had to, brother. You gave me no alternative. And so ends the Nexus War.
With Malygos' death, the Blue Dragonflight campaign was put to an end. Members of the Kirin Tor would spend years to reverse the damage that he had done to Azeroth's ley lines, but eventually they would restore them to their former power. And while in Northrend, Malygos was of course not the only threat we had to deal with. There was also Arthas the Lich King, the old god Yogg-Saron, but also the Forsaken, while the Alliance and Horde united to assault the Wrathgate. Grand Apothecary Putris decided that this was their best time to strike, unleash the developed plague upon Arthas and claim their vengeance, taking many of the Alliance and Horde in the process. The plague would have spread throughout the entire region, destroyed whomever it touched, if not for the Red Dragonflight. Alexstrasza and her servants descended from the skies and purified the land with their enchanted fire. They could not save the fallen, but they did eradicate the plague. Now, what is rather curious is the conversation that she has with Corielstras. He asks her if they know, and she tells him no, my beloved, followed by a line in Draconic. Roughly translated, it means they must not discover the fate of the young paladin. Not yet. That young paladin, being Bolvar 4 dragon, seared by Dragonflame, taken by the Lich King, to then, at the end of the expansion, pick up the Helmet of Domination and become the Jailer of the Damned. Postpone the plans, as we now know, of the Jailer itself. But what exactly did the dragons turn Bolvar into, and why was he the only one to come back with the Dragonflame? Did the aspect of life already work against dangers that we didn't even know about until recently? I really wonder. It will be cool if there's some kind of connection there. Next to that, there is another purifying healing quest to be found in Northrend. We have Crusader Bridenbred, which is a tribute to the real-life Bridenbacker's battle against his illness. We're asked by High Lord Tyrion Fordring to locate the hero, and as it turns out, the plague of undeath has gripped him. That's why he refuses to come with us, not wanting to share his fate with those near him. We go around trying to find some way to cure this devoted of the light, which eventually has us ask Alexstrasza for aid. In this dark time, she will not be the one to abandon a champion